Welcome to today's video. Today's video, I'm going to share with you what I saw last weekend, and that is a very early pre-production Hyundai Ioniq 5. Now, a pre-production version of a car means basically it is not the final finished product. So there'll be bits on it that just aren't finished off or will be slightly different to the production version. And mainly, it could be just software bugs or just tooling issues or bits that they were working out, and that's the idea of a pre-production car, so they can iron all these problems out before that goes into production. But it gives you an idea of what the car's like. Now, I will be driving the final production version in the next coming weeks and doing a full proper review on that car. And if you're interested in seeing a proper review on the Hyundai Ioniq 5, make sure you go and click the subscribe button and hit that notification bell, otherwise you might miss that review. But this is basically a bit of B-roll I filmed on that day, and my initial thoughts of what I think of this Hyundai Ioniq 5 now I've actually physically touched one and had my hands on one. First thing to say is next to the Kona, you'll see behind it is huge. It's much wider, much longer, a larger bonnet. It's also much higher than the Kona. The front styling is rather unique. I don't feel it's trying to be anything other than itself. It's not trying to imitate Tesla or another manufacturer. You'll notice they've also used these horizontal lines all over the car, from the front bumper right down to the doors, and the bottom of the front bumper you'll see this air intake. Now this will actually open and close depending on operation. The alloy wheels on the Hyundai are a solid aero design, but I have to admit they actually look amazing compared to some of the aero designs we've seen. The door handles are self-presenting type, which we see on many other cars. The charge flap is electric opening and closing hinge, and of course this one is the first sub £50,000 car with 800 volt CCS charging, and we're going to see a lot more of these 800 volt cars coming on the road, but this is one of the first which is actually hitting the roads for under 50k. As this is a pre-production car, I don't think the close button or the open button was calibrated properly on the switch. I imagine that you'd be able to press the button to close and also actually touch the flap to open, very similar to the way the Model 3 works. You may be aware that the launch edition here in the UK, it will include a solar roof, and in some markets it can still be added as an extra, and this will add some power back to the traction battery. It's just a shame here in the UK it's not an option unless you bought the launch edition model. At the front of the car is where Hyundai have put all the electronics, very similar to the way the Kona and the rest of their range has. Now obviously this is a ground up EV. All these Hyundai Ioniq 5s and the Ioniq electric range now, so not talking about the older Ioniq, will all be built on the Hyundai eGMP platform. Now, they've added a little glove box on this one at the front, and I say glove box because to call it a frunk would be an outright lie, because there is literally no room even for a HV lead in here. As we move to the back, you'll see these horizontal lines again in the rear bumper, and one thing I love about the Ioniq is these rear lights. They feel really retro to me, they look really good, and they feel a little bit cute. I'd like to know what you think below in the comments. Now, when getting into the boot, it boasts a large boot, but it seems to be all length and absolutely no depth. Now, as we're on the inside, you'll see another design feature which Hyundai have repeated on the car, and that is this group of squares, which had one detail on the charge flap we couldn't see before, and it's basically plastered all over the interior doors and most of the interior switches. The switches inside felt really nice and solid. However, this is, like I said, a pre-production car. Until I've sat on one, I can't really be reviewing what feel and touch of these buttons or what the surfaces are like until the production car is finally out. The seat covering, however, did feel really soft, and I really liked how comfortable the seats were. The fully electric seats reclined really nice, and this leg support opens up at the bottom to give you a really good, nice car for a good, I don't know, mid-afternoon snooze if you're feeling for it. The seats are also fully adjustable, but not just by the switches, but also on the nav menu. Now this is also included on a lot of other seat controls, from heated seats to cooling seats. Everything not only has a button, but is also a controller on the screen. So if you want to go through certain micro settings of certain controls, you can do on the screen, or If you prefer to do it on the actual button because it's quick and you just want to move your seat, you can do it straight away on a physical button. And I really like the way they've done this. One thing the car is not lacking is USB sockets. You've got 2 in the back and 3 in the front. One luxury feature that does seem to be missing on this is the electric rear blinds. There doesn't seem to be any electric rear blinds. You have to physically pull them up, physically pull them down, but having blinds in the back anyway is a little bit luxurious. I just feel that it could have been electronic and just really brought the Ioniq 5 superior luxury a bit higher. The front user interface is a design we are now seeing on all cars, and it's a large touchscreen panel from left to right. Now, it's not as large as the Porsche Taycan, but it's a fairly large 2-screen display. I was a little bit disappointed to find out that only the centre screen was touchscreen and the other screen was just basically a display for the driver information. Remember, this is a pre-production model, and I did read reviews that this screen is slow to use or slow to respond. Now, I actually found it pretty quick and pretty snappy. I do expect on the delivery trials it should be even better, but until I've actually got my hands on that production car in the next couple of weeks, I can't comment fully on this. One of the last things here is the key, which is a bit chunky, but it does have the ability to drive the car forward and backwards out of tight parking spots, and it will also unlock the charge flap and various other little features, and I believe they're going to have a preheat and pre-cool feature on this button also. So what do you think of the new Hyundai Ioniq 5? Will you be getting one? Have you got one in order? Are you getting a launch edition? What spec would you be going for? Is there anything on the car that you think it's missing? If you want to see the full review of this, like I said, don't forget to click subscribe and also hit that notification bell. It will be coming in the few weeks. And if you're already a subscriber or you want to help support me, check out Patron or YouTube membership. Thank you very, very much, and I'll see you again next week. Goodbye.